Welcome into All Eyes on Cleveland here on the OBR streaming network. Welcome. OTAs are in full thrust, as we would say. Yeah, full go. They are happening. Things are happening. The media was there. The man next to me, the one and only Big Case Dog in the house, wearing the shirt. Lovely of you to wear. Winston Fan Club President. Love it. We've got a little Winston for you tonight. As we're going to kind of take a look at the day that was out in Berea and talk about some things that are happening, as Winston is just a breath of fresh air, isn't he, Case?
Yeah, put a mic in that dude's face. I just, I can't get enough. I just love how animated he is. You could ask him anything, and he's going to give you all the gesture, the eye contact. Like, that is a leader of men right there, though.
He is. And I don't wish this upon Deshaun at all, ever. I want him to stay healthy. I want him, redemption tour, 2024. But if it so happens, I kind of feel okay with him taking snaps.
That's the best plan B you could have gotten for what this offense is going to be. And I'm just going to be real, man. If Winston were to play the entire year, I think this is still a 10-win team.
Agreed. He's throwing missiles out there, by the way.
Yes,
by the way, throwing missiles out there. Good to see my boy Elijah Moore in camp this week. Mm-hmm. Elijah is a workhorse. We talked about this the other night. He is a gym rat, and I don't think anybody he's like a Kobe mentality. So believe me, he was working harder than anybody at camp when he wasn't there anyway. So don't you worry about that. What's up to the chat? Thanks for participating in All Eyes on Cleveland here on the OBR streaming network. This is the new YouTube channel. I know, it's transitioning. It still might say All Eyes on Cle in the URL, but that will be changing. So go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends. Get them over there. Them hitting the button. Everybody hitting the button. Hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live for all of the OBR shows here on the YouTube channel. And thank you very much to the Twitch family, always loyal in the chat as well. And those of you watching on X, we appreciate you as well. Hop on over to the YouTube channel if you get a chance and hit that subscription and a like button. Case Dog, I did an article the other day. It actually came out today, the other day. Today felt like about 3 days, so That's why I said that. Top 3 position battles. Did you see it?
Yes, I did, sir.
Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Check and check.
So I've got some stuff for us to watch, but before we get into that, top 3 position battles. Now, you kind of have to look at the Browns roster differently, right? And I preface this in the article. It's not like it used to be. Like, you're not going to walk into this roster and have a chance to go start. As Pete said, I'm going to steal this word. The starters are entrenched in this roster, right? So your battles, your competition, OTAs, guys are fighting for A, to make the roster, or B, to improve their standing on the depth chart, and maybe carve out a role where they can contribute a little bit. Yeah, maybe I can get in a rotation. So, number 3 for me, I believe, was linebackers. I choose that one because that maybe, to me, feels like one of the thinnest areas on the team out of tight end.
Yeah.
And there's just kind of a group of unprovens that you're like, the door is open for someone to step into linebacker 3, play when you're in base, and be the first guy called on the field when, somebody has to miss a snap and you can get some snaps in nickel or whatever, or in maybe a rush package or whatever, some sort of a sub package. But those snaps seem to be available. I think that they want Bookie Watson to step into that role, ideally. Maybe Devin Bush a little bit. His speed certainly plays into this thing. Who do you like there the most? Who would you like to see step into that role?
When I look at the linebacker room, obviously it's JOK, it's Hicks, and then it's what happens now. So they got a little bit invested in Bush, nothing crazy that they couldn't walk away from, but I think it's pretty solidified. I think he makes the team, and Watson, because you just drafted him. And so you look on the outside and you got Tony Fields, who's kind of just been middling and has he's never been able to carve that role out for himself, And then you got Mahmoud Diabate, which is almost sight unseen. We saw him in the preseason. He looked good. We didn't know what he was doing all season. He got a little taste at the end of the year, and it did not look good. Was he able to build on that? Was he able to, over the course of the summer, really put it together? And what can he bring to this team? But I heard Bubba Ventrone speak today, and he was talking about how different the kickoff operation is, both coverage and return. And he said, you're probably going to see some bigger bodies. Linebackers, this is your shot. This is your shot to make the team. You got to go out there and really perform and show that you can get after it and kick coverage to make this team, because that might be the differentiating, separating factor for one of these guys.
Special teams. Yep.
Yeah.
Special
because I
teams
think Watson gets there. I mean, obviously they just drafted him, but he's also got the size, man. He's a 240-pound kid, I think that's really going to – they want him to be the Sam and then grow from there. But like Diabate or Fields – it's probably hard for both of you guys to make it, And I think, I hate to say it, but I think I've seen enough of Fields that I'd be willing to give Diabate the shot.
I agree. Did you realize this is Fields' 4th year? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
This is year 4 for him, so it's put up or shut up time, legit.
They drafted him the same year as JOK.
Yeah. Good question from Exalted One. Is it Book E or Bookie? From my understanding, it's Bookie, like Bookie, like the degenerate. I owe money to my bookie, which I often do. So, no, just kidding. It's legal now.
It's completely legal
through our phones. It's fine. It's okay. No more owing money to some guy behind alley down the street. So. That's I believe it's Bookie, and I don't know where. Do you know where that originated from?
No, but I heard that he talked about it on a podcast. Because me and Jacob talked about this when we were doing our rookie reviews, and it's like that's an unfortunate name, given all the gambling problems the NFL has had with players over the last 2 seasons, to come in the league with your name being Bookie. But I'm sure there's some innocent thing where it was a kid. Who knows? Maybe he was a very voracious reader, and couldn't put the books. I don't know where it came from, but I'm sure someone out there could clue us in.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it is unfortunate. But hey, it is what it is, you know. So guys get nicknames. It is what it is. Nate, Nathaniel, Bookie, whatever. He's a big boy. He plays linebacker. All right, so number 2 on the list was – wait, what did I start with, 3? Yeah, number 2 on the list was defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. And really this is about – a couple of things. So, let me ask you this. We've had this discussion at the OBR a number of times. Jack Duffin very much felt like when they drafted Hall that meant that, Maurice Hurst was going to be the odd man out. I don't believe that. I think they probably keep 5 defensive tackles at this point on the 53, right? I don't think you're getting rid of Maurice unless he gets hurt or anything like that. Yeah. I think you shave off a personnel somewhere else. So you're talking about Mike Hall and your 4 rotational guys, right? Your starters are probably Shelby Harris and Dalvin Tomlinson, right, up the middle. And then you've got your Maurice Hurst, and you've got your newly signed.
Quentin
Jefferson, who is an immediate upgrade, I think, and then you've got Mike Hall Jr. Then you drafted Jawan Briggs in the 7th round,
Yeah.
And there's somebody named Chris Williams on the roster, or on the 90 roster right now. Chris Williams and Jaden Peavy. So a couple
And
guys,
Siaka Ika.
yeah,
That's
in
that's
Ika.
that's
Yeah,
the elephant in the room right now, right?
right. So
Because I think you can keep five. You can finagle the roster in order to keep five defensive tackles. You can even Quentin Jefferson can even play some end, so his versatility kind of lends itself as well. But you also have the ends that can play DT. It just
that's the thing about this room is you have so many guys. If you're looking at edge, Garrett, Za'Darius, and Alex Wright are all very equipped to slide inside if needed.
they can reduce down easily.
So really, the one place you would want to reduce would be defensive tackle because you've got these guys that are versatile that way. But that's the position you can't really reduce at because of the wealth of talent that you.
Well, the talent you just
there.
drafted a kid in the second round, so it's
and it's not common for Barry to move off of somebody like Ika, who was drafted in the third round, right? Or even Jawan Briggs, who was drafted in the seventh round. Normally, these guys are a lock for the roster. Both of these guys, as we sit here today, probably on the outside looking in.
Well, the evolution of this team and where it's at trajectory-wise with the roster, Briggs to me is a practice squad candidate. He's not even a candidate to make the roster.
Correct.
It was weird too because when you moved off of Jordan Elliott, you went and got a better player in Quentin Jefferson in the pass rush. He's not as good as Jordan in the run game, but it's not like Elliott was a run stuffer.
Yeah.
He was slightly better at that one role, but the difference in pass rushing is so great that it's a no-brainer to add Jefferson. But you don't have that run stuffer. Tomlinson obviously can do that trick, but you're hoping Ika develops. But when you go ahead and draft another defensive tackle in the second round, you weren't letting Ika's development slow you down from taking Michael Hall. So this will be a new precedent if he moves off Ika this quickly.
Yeah.
But it sends a shot to the roster too. You're not guaranteed just because we drafted you.
Yeah, and the question then is, I have a hard time believing that they'll be able to get him through to the practice squad.
Yeah, same
right?
here. Yeah.
Somebody would probably swoop him, being a third round pick. Maybe not though. Maybe if you recall, I don't know, the guys that I had on during the 23 draft. And we kept getting mocked. Siaka Ika were like, "Stay the fuck away, bro. Stay away."
I wrote articles that said the same thing.
Yes.
On the night I did the instant reaction article when we got him, and I was like, "This ain't it,"
Yeah.
And it's because you saw regression. His junior year was way better than his senior year. And it's like, I don't know what you are at the next level. And the only thing that gave me solace in any of that was knowing it. In the process, Jim Schwartz was the one banging the table for the kid. So I was like, oh, he sees a role for him. And then you get him in, and I just don't think this came to fruition. And he's dropped weight for this year. So he's taking it serious. The leap he would need to make from what he was last year to what it is this year to move off of the talent you already have in that room would be astronomical. I don't know if it's possible, to be honest with you.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, that's where you're at. So that was number 2 for me. And there's the convoluted mess that room is right there. So, and then number 1 for me, and I think this is the most important, is the wide receiver room, right? So you've got your 3 guys, and you've got a fun bunch of dudes after that. And there was the rumors this week about Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, come on, man.
What? If you brought Hunter Renfrow onto this team, yes, Fumble, it would shock me if they moved Shelby Harris.
It would because he got a 2-year deal.
Yeah, he did. Out of all the guys, he got the 2-year deal, right?
Hurst, I could see Hurst getting moved. That would be something I could see happen, but
if he stays healthy, that's the big if.
Yeah,
right?
And that's his question anyway.
Right.
His production, his pass rush win rate was outstanding when he was on the field last year. But over the course of his career, that's been his Achilles heel. Just not being on the field, not being available.
Let me throw a hypothetical at you, Case Dog. What if what if, say, knock on something, Shelby gets dinged before we get to week 1?
Yeah.
And you're at cut downs, right? Remember, now they've changed the cut downs starting last year. It's all at one time.
Yeah.
So, your veteran guys, you try to do a favor if, they're in good, and let them go earlier so they can catch on somewhere. There's a lot of, it's even more of a mess now. Like, over 1,000 players become available at one time, right?
Yeah.
For GMs, like crazy. But the thing with that is, if Harris gets dinged, not Harris, Hurst gets dinged, or anybody gets dinged, does Ika make the roster? Do you keep 5 and keep Ika?
I don't keep Ika just to keep the number at 5 because we talked about it, man. I can kick Z inside or Alex Wright, or you're not hurting for depth no matter how you look at it. He has to. He would have to show out to a degree that I don't know he's capable of to maintain, to stay in this room.
Yeah, he has to earn it. I think he has to earn it even if somebody gets, dinged up. He still has to earn it, right? So,
yeah.
That's a good point. All right, so I see your question, Drew. We'll talk running backs in a second. It's a good one. But Hunter Renfrow, let's get back to this. So I don't know do you know where this originated? The Renfrow murmurs?
I can't remember the first place I saw it, but it caught like wildfire. I saw it once, and then I saw it like 3 or 4 times. And
yeah,
dude, people need to quit like going back to the past. I know he played with Deshaun in college.
Clemson, yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I don't care
Look
either.
Look at this room, the way it's constructed.
Now, it's positioned in a good enough way that you have 3 solid starters that you can count on, and then a bunch of guys that you want to see what they can do.
Yeah.
I don't want to block Cedric Tillman from snaps, or I don't want to block any of these guys from snaps.
I don't want to stunt anyone's development just to bring in a blast from the past from Deshaun Watson when you already have capable guys in that role right now. One you just paid money to. Let's see what he can do. I'm not trying to clog up that rotation.
He did go to Clemson, Drew. Yeah, that's probably where a lot of the speculation
So did Mike Williams.
I
didn't want him either.
Yeah. So
that's not the reason. That's not the reason to go get a guy, is he played with him 8 years ago.
Any relation to Ray?
Ray Renfrow? Cleveland Browns legend. I think he wore number 36.
Oh, I don't believe there's any relation.
No, he didn't wear 36. What did he wear? I did an article going in the 20 season. I did a countdown at 99 days to the season. And Ray Renfrow,
each number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Renfrow made my list as an honorable mention.
Casey is co-host of the Barking Browns podcast, and we've got his co-host in here representing the Barking Browns, Jacob Roach, co-sign. Renfrow makes no sense. Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. It doesn't make any sense because you don't want to. So this is what I wrote about. Basically, the team, I think, ideally would like to see Cedric Tillman step firmly into that 4th role, right?
Yeah.
So,
or even far with the 3rd, even if he can make a big leap, just because he gives you a different body style, man. Like
anybody, yeah,
it's on the table for him.
Get in the rotation somehow,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Like, because they're not just going to use 3 wide receivers. Guys are going to get gassed. They're going to use different. If you're in the first 5. You're probably going to get some snaps, but if you're number 4, you could play 20, 25 routes a game, certain games, depending on what happens, right? And what kind of game it is. I mean, the Browns were in like 78% 11 personnel last year, which was like top 10, and I don't think it's going down. If anything, I think it's going up, right? So you're going to get some snaps.
4 wide sets. I'm a firm believer in building a wide receiver core like a basketball team. You need different guys to do different things, and he's a power forward. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I look at Tillman. I'm excited. I'm excited for this wide receiver room in general. We have never had an exciting depth like this. You've had years where you've had some decent depth, but they're usually veteran guys or guys on their way out who can still give you a little. These are all guys that are ascending. You know what I mean?
Yes. Which is what makes this offseason so fun and why I put it at number 1, because you've got Tillman, you've got David Bell, who I must admit, he does everything right. and he's always in the right spot and all that stuff, but he doesn't excite me like the other guys. Like Jamari Thrash excites me. Like I'm excited about to see what Jamari Thrash can do. Like
It's
I
the
really
upside,
am.
right? That's what.
Yeah, the upside, the ceiling.
It's exciting, man. It can be anything.
And
It can be a boat.
Tillman.
You don't know yet. We gotta get into it.
Michael Woods, because I
Buddy?
think he's got a ceiling, man.
Buddy?
He is looking. And so is Tillman. Both of them. Give credit to the strength and conditioning program because both Woods and Tillman are looking upper body jacked. So yeah, for sure.
They got Landers out there. They got another guy who's big and height, weight, speed guy that you maybe will sneak on the practice squad.
Yep, Charlie Chuck saying he's always liked Woods. Me too. You're talking to two guys that are big fans of Michael Woods. He's always had that. He's got that good size. He's got good shake. You know what I mean? When he caught the ball, whenever he had the ball, I always felt like he made somebody miss before he went down. He just never got enough opportunities before. It's been, a whole year later. He looks strong. He looks good from the glimpses I've seen.
Yeah, good catch radius, not afraid of the contact. I really want to change his name to Mikey Trees. Like that's Mikey Trees for me. I'm pulling hard for him, man. I think that because it's the upside, like you said. Like David Bell's safe. David Bell's being at the bar and going home to your wife. He's a safe thing, man. It's there for you. He's going to be on time. He's going to find spots and zones. He's sure-handed. But the upside's not there. Would
you say being at the bar, going home with your wife?
Going home to your wife.
Okay.
He's the safe bet. He's safe, man. There's no danger there.
But Mike Woods is the blonde at the end of the bar.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You never know. It could go wild.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, man.
I like that analogy.
Just get some dynamic people. He's a dynamic dude, man. But then again, he was also a 6th-round pick for a reason. The same year that you got David Bell, who went 60 spots earlier. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's an interesting group, and it certainly makes for what should be an intriguing offseason. Now, speaking of intriguing offseasons, we're mid OTAs today. First practice. Thanks, Jacob. He loved the analogy. Right? That's a great analogy. We'll probably circle back to the analogy another time or two.
Yeah, we'll be there for us.
Yeah, it's there. There's all kinds of directions you can go off of that analogy too. It can get crazy real quick. So, just keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so let's look at some stuff from today. I grabbed this stuff. Busy day, I must admit, but I grabbed these. We've got some stuff. So it's not Zipgate or anything, but today is the first day the media was there and Deshaun was throwing. Right. So yeah, right.
First day he threw in front of the media, yeah.
Yeah, first day media was in and he was throwing. We saw some clips last week, but throwing today, we're going to look at some of that. We're going to look at some of the things that Jameis said. Mike Vrabel in the building today, all over the field, helping here, there. Yeah. So much for being, at a
just
distance.
A consultant behind the scenes.
He was getting his hands dirty today, man. I love to see it. I love to see that, man.
Yes, sir.
He was out there working with special teams. He was in there on defense stuff, helping with the offense. It was great. I must admit that brand new offensive coordinator has been impressive so far from listening to him talk, and he seems involved at a high level. With everything, Stefanski just kind of standing back watching today. It's interesting.
Yeah,
a little
Let
different.
Him cook. Let Dorsey cook, man.
Letting Dorsey cook.
I enjoyed hearing him talk because it answered some of my questions that I even had on here last week. I didn't know how much of Buffalo's offense would transfer, and especially those choice routes. How much is that going to be involved? That was a major talking point today.
Yes.
And Elijah Moore was talking about it, who's someone I think could be fantastic in that role.
Yes.
With that kind of that two-way action. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty insightful day actually for me.
It was. Let's see what I can get cooking here for us. All right, I don't know what's what here, so we're just gonna kind of dive in, right?
Let's go.
I just got a bunch of videos. Let's see what we got here. Can Vrabes motivate Wills? Great question, Drew. Listen, Wills was playing good ball before he got hurt last year. If he can return to that
since
form,
his rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe he can, and maybe he can help. It's certainly. I'll tell you this much though, Drew. You make a good point. Vrabel's presence, out on the field today, hands-on, makes me feel better about the transition from Callahan to Dickerson. Just Vrabel's there kind of as your backup, backstop in case something goes haywire or something gets missed. He's going to make sure, it doesn't get missed. And not that I think Andy Dickerson's going to miss anything. He certainly, unless he might miss a haircut, but that's it.
Every now and again, yeah.
He might miss it. He might miss a trip to the barbers, but that's it. All right, here we go. Got some Watson. This is just throwing a slant here.
Yeah.
Tillman. Is that Tillman?
Yeah, it appears to be.
So this is just a little warming up here. What do you think? To me, his form looks the same.
Yeah.
Does it not?
There's no holding back. He's fully rotating, coming through, bringing the arm back. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. Is this the same one? No. It is the same one. Son of a. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah. He's rotating. He's turning. He's spinning it. And it looks pretty good. He made a couple really good throws today. I thought, is this it? This is one of the best ones. I mean, guy in your face. This shows, he's still got the strength to make this. It's a good throw right here.
Yeah,
now he missed some.
Too.
Yeah, look at that.
Good
right
placement.
Over his shoulder. Great placement to outside. Yeah, so I like that. I like to see this one right here. Turns. Good hip rotation. I mean, he looks comfortable, correct? Like, he doesn't look labored or that throw did not look difficult to make, and that's to the outside, 25 yards down the field, right?
That's not that easy of a throw to make it look effortless.
No. So good signs there, I think. I'm not overblowing any of this. Just whatever. So
that's what we needed to see. We're not going to find out what it's like to the bullets are flying for real, but as far as mechanically, because is the shoulder sound?
Yes.
And they're holding them back. They're only letting them rip it a few times, and then he's taking mental reps a lot with the ones and stuff to avoid any incidental contact and stuff like that.
For sure. Let's see what we got here. This is the same throw. Son of a.
Love that throw, Brad.
My bad, guys. They're not labeled, so we're just shooting in the dark sometimes.
Yeah, shooting from the hip tonight, boys.
All right, here we go. Okay, this is I forget which one this is.
I know which one this is.
The one Landers drops, or the really
outstretched arms.
Yeah.
Bang. Nice.
Oh, that's a beauty right there.
Yeah.
So that one was to Elijah, right?
Elijah Moore. Yep.
This is probably maybe the best throw he made all day. The one to Elijah outside, and this is a good throw right here because look at where he puts it too. Back of the end zone, 2 feet in. Nobody else is getting to it but the wide receiver.
Yeah, and this is on air. Whatever, dude. This is great placement. Back foot hits, ball comes right out. Look, he looks off to the other side. Bang.
Perfect. One more time there, because that's the best. I think the best one we see today.
Yeah, I'd have loved to seen it from behind him actually. To watch his footwork on this and see if there was any hits.
But he's looking this way.
The other side comes back. Perfect.
Got it.
Perfect. He had one similar to that was dropped earlier though.
Yeah. Exalted One went down the rabbit hole and found Watson introduced himself to the reporter with a strong handshake and as bookie. The emphasis was on the first syllable, which rhymes with
Buki.
Mookie?
So Buki.
From an article in the Chronicle. I'm almost positive, brother, it's Bookie. Maybe it's Buki, but
I heard Emerson say it. And he said Bookie.
Yeah.
When he said it, but
Yeah.
maybe that's not how it originated. Like,
maybe it's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
Certainly is here. All right. Let's proceed to what we've got next. Hopefully I don't repeat one here. Now, okay, that looks like a repeat. All right, let's bring this one up here. All right, what do we got here? This may be the Landers drop. No sound on this one.
Yep. Yep.
Now, I don't really care that he dropped this. Just good to see the ball go down the field. It's in the right spot.
Yeah, perfect.
But look at Landers out there, man.
He's a big boy. He's a big dude.
That is a big receiver. And Raz King, if you recall from last week, 9.22 Raz score after the Raz rabbit hole we went down.
McCown.
No, he's not. Well, I do think those are adjusted for position, so he may be a little more athletic than McCown.
Whatever. McCown would dunk on him.
McCown, after we went down the Raz
rabbit hole. Let's be real.
Yeah. After we went down the Raz rabbit hole last week, Casey sent me these highlights of McCown playing slot receiver or wide receiver for who?
For the Lions. It was
for
crazy. We talked about it like that, and then we get off the pod, and Jacob sent me that, and I was like, no way. We just talked about the dude and his athletic prowess.
Yeah, it's a great point, Charlie. We'll talk about that in a minute. I did hear about that, so we will hit that topic tonight here. All right, so that was another long ball from Watson. We've got a couple other clips here worth looking at today. So let's see here. That one. I'm not sure what this one. Oh, this is just Vrabes getting in the mix here.
Still got it.
Knock that shit out of there, he said.
Dude, he is so big. I've seen him in person. I was on an airplane with him once. He had a mustache at the time. That dude was that's a man's man right there.
Look at him getting right in the mix there.
You don't want him?
You can arrest the passer?
It's about to blow up. Ostrich. That's right, Watson. You better get a hot route. You better get rid of that.
Got rid of that to flat before Vrabel could take him down. But it's good to see, right? I mean, I did not.
Consultant in the league's doing that.
I did not expect to see this.
For real.
The way that they made him out. Yeah, the way they framed his role, I did not expect him to be out here on the field in OTAs doing this stuff. But the fact that he is to me is a huge positive. It can do nothing but help.
Yeah, that kind of experience as a player and as a coach, at all levels.
Absolutely.
And everything. Been in defensive meeting rooms with Bill Belichick forever.
100%.
Yeah, dude.
Coach of the year, another coach of the year.
Just paying it back to Schwartz, too, because Schwartz did this for him. Now, Schwartz didn't do that for him. He didn't get on the field and show him what he did at Georgetown playing linebacker.
No, he didn't, but he did do that. And the thing that we didn't know, which we do know now, is that Stefanski and him were actually boys before this. Mm-hmm. So they did have a prior relationship before the actual hiring. So all of that narrative that some people in the Cleveland media want to give you about this being an ownership thing, the Vrabel thing, the changes on the offensive staff, I don't buy it for a second. I think this was all Stefanski. Just my personal opinion.
To bring another personality into the mix like that just shows you how confident Stefanski is in himself.
Absolutely. All right, here's Schwartz today. Courtesy of our man Fred Greetham, boots on the ground.
I've been very vocal about the respect I have for Braves and, the relationship that we have. And, I think it's awesome to have different sounding boards, having guys with experience in, different things. I know he's been a big help to Kevin. Kevin's been pretty vocal about that. And, have you guys talked to Bubba yet? Yeah, I'm sure Bubba's said the same thing. Anytime you can add experienced guys that have Coach of the Year trophies, I think that's a good thing for us.
I love Schwartz.
Yeah. There's no. It's just what happened. You know what I mean? There's he'll meander with a baseball analogy every now and again, but he shoots straight down the middle.
Yep. Yeah, he's great. And the sunglasses, he's a badass, All right, here's man of the day talking about, now this is leadership. Truly, I mean that. I think this is leadership. All the people, the Joe Flacco narrative and all that. And listen, I have been one that hasn't shied away from the fact that Winston is 10 years younger. B, I think he's a better quarterback at this point in his career than Flacco. But also, I am not afraid to say that I do think that the fact that Flacco became an instant cult hero in Cleveland certainly, I think, factors into this. If you want to foster a situation for success, or put the right guys around Watson that's going to bring the best out in him, putting Flacco right behind him is doing him no favors going into this season. I'm sorry, you're just not.
Yeah.
He reads. We know Watson's on social media. We know he pays attention to this kind of stuff.
He's got boots on the ground.
I'd like to tell him not to, but you can't. But one thing I can do is say, listen, great run. Loved you, Joe. It was great. But we can't put our QB1 in that situation. First ball he throws in the dirt, they're going to be chanting his name. It's just not a great situation to put him in, right? And B, he knows Jameis. They're from the same kind of background in the SEC, ACC, pardon me, quarterbacks, and the same generational talent that came out then. And Winston, who is a guy who has completely redeemed himself from his prior stuff, but
that's huge though. That right there is huge, because we talk about with Vrabel being a sounding board. This is a sounding board for Watson, the guy who's been under the biggest spotlight, the most scrutiny, had things happen, overcame them, and is beloved by all of his teammates, and just shows you how to lead. Man, you couldn't get a better guy in the room with him for him to identify with and bounce things off of.
There is a saying in Alcoholics Anonymous that a guy falls in a hole, right? And a priest walks by and he's like, send me down a prayer so I can get out of this hole. Help me, send me down. So he writes a prayer, throws it down, still stuck in the hole. Doctor comes by, he's like, help me, doc, help me get out. He throws down a prescription, nothing. He's still stuck in the hole. Friend walks by and he's like, help me, man, help me get out of here. And he jumps down in the hole with him. And he's like, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck down here. And he's like, no, I've been here before. I know the way out. And that's the analogy for this situation, right? Here's somebody who has redeemed themselves. And, you talk about a sounding board or somebody that can relate. There's somebody here that has successfully, rebranded himself. And this right here is leadership, though. Awesome to hear him talk today. Play this now.
Intentional leadership of him taking mental reps, like he is one of the best quarterbacks in this league. I've seen a consistent growth in just him focusing on his shoulder routine, focusing on building that strength back. And when he throws it, he spins it. So I haven't seen anything of lack. I've just seen him just continue to grow, continue to lead these guys, because it's challenging when you're not getting the reps. It's challenging to have a presence when you're sitting back from afar watching, and he's done an incredible job just staying locked in, staying focused. I see him. I smile when he's communicating to the receivers in the back, communicating to the offensive lines, talking protections, because that is football, and he's not missing it.
I mean, beautiful.
Here's the thing. You'd never get that from Joe Flacco, and that's not a knock on Flacco. This is Jameis being his genuine, authentic self. This is who this man is, man. Like,
yeah,
put a mic in his face every day.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Like, you're right. You wouldn't get this from Flacco, and you're right. That's not a knock on him, but you are getting this from Jameis. I mean, who else would stand up there and be that supportive and that backing of Watson at this point? I can't think of many people. Not fake.
And not be fake. That's who he is, man. He's trying to lift dude up.
Yep, he is.
Right in front of us.
He is. And that was probably the bet you did hear locked in. You did hear it fumble. Yeah. I mean, that was my biggest takeaway from today. Like, this guy's great, man. This guy, it can only help. The positivity, the constant reassurance, and then the messaging outward as well. All of that can only help Watson.
Yeah, and he needs that, man. Like,
yeah.
Let's be real, because like you said, dude, he knows what's
going
on
social media. Man. We all
he
need
hears
that.
The noise. Like,
we all need a Jameis Winston in our lives, right?
Damn straight.
Right?
If you have one, you're lucky.
You're lucky. That's right. All right, so let's good stuff from today. OTAs. I think all positive takeaways. Biggest things for me, seeing Vrabel out there, Deshaun looking good, throwing the football, Jameis being the leader that he is. All very good stuff today. But Vrabel surprised me. Jameis, it didn't surprise me, but it's great. You love it. You love to see it. So,
yes, sir,
question. Yeah, question here. Doesn't need to be tonight. We'll make it tonight. We got time. We got a little bit of time here. Doesn't need to be tonight, but interested in the topic regarding kicker on kickoffs.
Okay.
KC not using their kicker because they want an extra tackler, and they have a capable roster guy to do it. So, interesting. Yeah.
This would be where having someone like the Scottish Hammer comes in handy, because that dude's a rugby player. He will spear you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to get a guy who is more athletic than a kicker and less vulnerable. You don't want your kicker making tackles if you don't have to, unless you got a Pat McAfee or someone.
So I've heard a lot of people. There's a couple things about this. First, do you recall? I don't know if you listened to it. When Stefanski did the interview on ESPN Cleveland with Rizzo and Hammer, did you listen to that one?
No. Nope.
Okay. So one of the things they said to him was they were giving Stefanski a hard time about doing pressers and not saying anything, not giving anything away, right? They're like talking a lot but actually not saying anything, which is what the good ones do, right?
He's a wizard at it too, man. He's got a black belt in coachisms.
And Stefanski pointed out the thing about that you'll notice about Belichick, who does the same thing, is that he'll grab onto something that he can talk about in a presser that doesn't give away anything, and he'll elaborate on that for minutes, and it makes it sound like he's talking about all the substance, but it's something that, you know what that is for coaches and GMs and everybody right now? The freaking kickoff. Ask Stefanski about the kickoff. He'll spend the entire press availability talking about it. He'll talk about how interesting it is, and we don't know what's going to happen here and there, and we're trying this out and that. Because he's eating up time, he has to take less questions about everything else. It's interesting, but everybody's doing that across the NFL. Just an observation, because I heard him even say it, and then he turned around and used the same exact tactic on Rizzo about the kickoff. And I'm like, he's doing it to you right now. Yep. So, but anyways, that's interesting. Who's the player from Kansas City that the kicker, the safety that they're talking about? Reed. It's an interesting idea. Certainly. Here's the thing. There's so much talk about this kickoff all over the league. And this is why I bring this up. And I think a lot of it is the reason that I mentioned. But it's like 8 plays a game, Casey. Why are we... I mean,
Yeah.
There's
It's not going to change the course of who's winning a Super Bowl this year.
And I heard
Yeah.
people say and sure, everybody's gonna have different ideas and different things. And for Bubba, it's huge. I get him talking a ton about it. I mean, that's his job, is to figure this out, right? And everybody's gonna have a different approach. But like, I heard somebody say several times now, oh, I expect to see 10, 15 returns this year for touchdown.
You might see a slight increase. It might be
A slight
two more than
increase.
you normally would, but what is it normally? 2? So what, you get 4 to 5, and it's not
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I agree.
But here's why they think that. They are imagining the old kickoff just closer, right? And like they're like, you break through that line, you're gone. It's a touchdown. I've heard people say, that's not how, if you're smart, that's not how it's going to be played. It's going to look much more like a normal play.
Yeah.
The
Spread out.
Yeah, the kick off team is going to form a second and third level.
Yeah. And it's going to change
If
your
they're
personnel.
smart.
You're going to have people out there that can pursue. You're going to have a couple out there. Brad, I watch a ton of rugby in the off season.
Okay.
I'm a huge proponent of union rugby, Six Nations tournament. I'm a Scotland fan, which means it's a bit like being a Browns fan. It's pretty similar. We were good back in the day, trying to claw our way back. But you're going to see a lot of line breaks. You're going to see it. That's the reason Lewis Rees-Zammit from Wales. Like, that's the reason I think that the Kansas City has him. I think that he's a guy who could be a difference maker in that. But it's still top level athletes, dude. It isn't going to be just make one guy miss and you're to the house, dude. You're going to have to outrun angles, and it'll be exciting though, just because it's new and fresh and different. But like, I imagine halfway through the season we're going to be over it.
Ty Sox with a great point. If we can keep the kicker off the field on kickoffs, it would be a win. Didn't Hopkins get hurt on kickoff last year? Now, remind me on this rule, where the kicker kicks from has changed as well, right? So it's more of or is it the same?
No, it's moved. I'm not sure what the degree is,
I think it's a shorter kick, and so it's going to be a shorter, higher kick, and like I think the downfall to doing this is that placement is going to be a key part of covering these kicks.
Yeah.
So that would be my only pushback to taking a kicker off the field and for a tackler. I think you can use the kicker to kick and then have him hang back as your safety valve, right? Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Teach him how to, do a.
But that's because it's new, right? Like, what happens 2 or 3 years from now when you can be a player who's a fringe roster guy, but you're a crazy good athlete, and you just practice cough and corner kicking. You could see this shift down. But right now, you're probably going to need your kicker to do it, like you said, for placement. But like, now that it's become so specialized, that might change if this rule sticks around for 5 years, to where you're seeing a position player that can do this on the regular.
That in the off season they train them and they're like, hey, this is a way I can make a roster. Yeah. I'm athletic, I can tackle, and now I can kick the ball.
With long snappers. Long snappers used to be a positional dude. Now it's carved out because there were fringe roster guys like, if I learn this skill, it'll keep me around for 10 years and I'll get pension. So
fantastic
specialized.
Point. Fantastic point. And you're right, Charlie. It doesn't. Hang time means nothing, but it does matter where you position it, right?
Yep.
So,
100%.
It'll be interesting. MC saying it'll be interesting because the kickoff team will have a lot less time to see what is developing in front of them. I think they will have a prior plan, like if it's go left, call out left, middle, right, and then you're gonna see basically what. By the time the runner gets up the field, I think you'll have a second level and a third level formed. You're going to have your guys that go get the ball, right? And then you're going to have guys that kind of behind him and then behind them. I think it ends up looking a lot like an offensive play.
And you're going to see people that utilize the fact you can have 2 guys back there at the same time, kind of split duty, you know what I'm saying, from opposite sides of the field. You might see more laterals attempted. like option plays off
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I think you're going to see some trickeration for sure.
You should.
Yeah, so it'll be a fun play. Fumble says the play will look like the old Green Bay power sweep during the Lombardi years. Pull 2 or 3 players and
You got a lane
take
here
it
and a lane
down the
here,
seam.
and
Yeah,
right down the alley.
yeah. So that's it's an interesting part of it. But don't let the head coach talk. I'm just warning
Yeah,
you. Don't
yeah.
let head
Don't look at this
coaches
hand.
and GMs around the league talking about the kickoff for a half hour at press availability fool you. There's a reason they're doing that, and it's not because they care that much about the kickoff, FYI. But it is interesting for sure. So we're going to get out of here. This has been another edition of All Eyes on Cleveland, recapping OTAs. Got some good stuff from today. Really positive day around Berea. Weather was beautiful. All that good stuff. Any final thoughts for us before you get out of here? Winston Fan Club President Casey Kinnamon.
Yeah, the biggest thing, and it's the most important, no injuries.
No injuries.
Just keep that going, baby. Just keep getting good work in. No injuries. We don't need people pulling up and anything more than a strained hamstring.
I told Drew I would ask this. So I'll ask this on the way out. When Chubb comes back, who's the odd man out?
Pierre
To
Strong.
be determined. Pierre Strong.
Yeah. Yeah, this coaching staff has shown me that they have that much faith in Ford. They've shown that's been a constant. I don't think that withers.
I don't think it's Ford, but what about
the other guys play roles, man. They need a Kareem Hunt type guy to be a hammer. That's what that's
Foreman around, right?
That's what Foreman gives me. Hines can do the motion stuff. He can be the gadget guy. He can play in the slot. He can be the third down back. I see cemented roles for those guys.
Are they carrying 4 running backs? They certainly will be carrying
until Chubb gets back, and then you might see someone get bumped, not active. I don't know. I just see it positioned perfectly, and you got to factor in the fact that Hines can return.
Yeah, Hines is going to be part of the return game for sure, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Foreman, Strong.
Contract-wise, Foreman is expendable. I see that, but I just see his physicality being such a plus and giving you that hammer that you need every now and again. And because for everything Nick Chubb is, and he's my favorite Cleveland Brown of all time.
Yeah,
he's not that good at goal line stuff, man. He's too patient of a runner for that style to just, you know what I mean? That's not who he is. Foreman can do that. Foreman can drop the hammer when he needs to.
Yeah, and he plays, in replacing Chubb while he's gone, you're basically trying to do it in the aggregate with Chubb can do everything. Here's a guy that can, do the power aspect. Here's a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Here's a guy that can run between the
tackles. 20s. This guy, yeah. Exactly.
So that's kind of how it feels like they're approaching it, which is why they might carry 4. I don't know if 4 will be active on game day, but
it's probably situational, depending on the team you're playing, depending on how you see the game going, maybe even weather. If you're not going to be able to sling it that day, you might want to buckle up.
I'm a big fan of Pierre Strong. I wish he would take a step forward because I think he can be an electric player. But
he looks like he could be a home run threat. His lack of contact balance scares me, but Ford's lack of vision scares me. They're not complete guys,
Yeah. The one thing about Strong is, man, he just gets upfield quickly, right? Mm-hmm. Like he makes the decision. He makes a decision and he goes. He doesn't dance. You know what I mean?
His first to fifth gear is like that. I mean, he's in it. I will say this though: we're talking about size. That Aiden Robbins kid from BYU,
big boy.
Yeah. Big boy. He looks when they're doing drills and you're watching, he's different. He's just flat out different. Now he's a rookie running back in a deep room. It's a lot of swimming. Probably a practice squad guy, but a guy to keep an eye on towards the future.
For sure.
especially if he takes to Deuce Staley and Staley takes to him. Like there could be something there.
Yeah. Staley with some interesting press availability last week. That was interesting to listen to. On,
A lot of big personalities.
Yeah, they do. They do. Hey, it was a fun day today to watch all that stuff coming out of camp. Great stuff from Winston and Vrabel were the highlights for me.
Yep.
And Watson looking healthy and no injuries coming out of the day. So A++ from where I'm sitting. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tell a friend, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep coming back. We'll see you next week with a full schedule from the OBR streaming network. For Casey Kinnamon, my name is Brad Ward. We are out.